Hello, I'm Jagan from Go With Data. Welcome to the Crack SQL Interview in 50 question series. In this video series, we'll practice 50 SQL questions across various topics. You can use the playlist Crack SQL Interview in 50 questions to follow the videos related to this series. For each video in the series, you can find the related code on my GitHub. Feel free to explore the code and provide any feedback in the comment section. If you want to see the code used in this video, you can go to the YouTube channel Grow With Data. We have the videos link and the playlist. We are talking about Crack SQL Interview in 50 questions playlist. There is a Tamil version for that too. If you go to the playlist and in the description part, you have the link to the code. If you click on the link, it will take you to the GitHub page where you have the create statement and the select statements we talk about in this video. If you want to join the WhatsApp channel, there's a link here. You can use this and join Grow With Data WhatsApp channel. Great. Now, let's see the data and you can talk about the question in detail. So this is the 30th video of the series and the first of advanced select and joins topic. So in this video, we are going to see how to join between tables and how to select the required columns from that table. Let's create this table. So we are given the employee table and we are asked to find the employees report to each manager and their average age. In this data set, you have the employee ID, the employee name, and who they are reporting to. If this is null, that means Hensy don't have a manager. And if you see Alice, Bob, Steve, Amber, and Janet, they have managers, and Winston don't have a manager. So if you see these two records, for manager 9, they have two employees, Alice and Bob. If you see their age is 41 and 36. If you find the average of that, then it's going to be 39, right? So for employee or manager 2, we got 3 employees reported to them, Steve, Amber, and Janet. And their age is 39, 34, and 34. If you take the average, it's going to be 36 around. So the expected output is going to be the employee ID of the manager and the manager's name and how many employees report to them and what is the employee's average age, right? So the first two are the manager information and the third and the fourth are the employee's information. Okay, so how to get that? Let's comment this out. Okay, now the basic thing is first we have to find who are all the managers and how many employees are reporting to that manager and their average age. And then for that manager, we have to find the name and the employee ID. So 9 is the manager ID and we got 2 employees and we have the age of the employees. We can take the average. And then you have to connect to the same table, the employee ID of 9 and get the employee name. So this is what we are going to try now. So how to do that is the main thing. First, let's see the basic part, the manager and how many people are reporting to that, right? So select reports to and then count of how many employees are there. Employee ID, hello, employee ID as reports count. The next one is the average age, average of age as average age from the employees table. Since we use aggregation function count and average, we have to use group by. Group by reports to. So if I run this, I have the reports to, who is the manager, and the reports count is how many employees and the average age. So 2 things to fix here. The average age is going to be a decimal, but the output is a integer. So how will I fix this? I can say round or ceiling or other functions, and I can say 0 value. So the round will be fixing the decimal issue. But if you see this, we have reports to as null. How to fix that? You can just put a where condition, reports reports to is not null. We can't say reports to equal to null. Right? So 9 and 2. So let's see what will happen if we say reports to equal to null. So you don't get any output. Reports to not equal to null. So if you handle the null value, never try equal to or not equal to. Say is not null. Okay. So now we got both the managers and the employees reporting to them and the average age of those employees. Now use that as a CTE table with managers info as. Use this and then you select this with the employee table from managers info inner join employees capital E as E. So how will I connect it? The manager ID should connect with the employee ID. So the employee table dot employee ID equal to the manager table dot reports to. So reports to the manager ID, and we are connecting with the employee table, the employee ID to get the employee name. So now reports to is going to be the employee ID, or we can directly say e.employee ID is going to match, but just for understanding, I just say this is the manager ID, which is going to the employee ID now. And then to get that manager's name, we are going to use the name part of it. And then I am going to bring in the age and the count. So the reports count and the manager tables average age underscore age. So here we are not using any aggregation function, and we can sort based on the employee ID. So if I run this, I get the manager ID as an employee ID and the manager's name and how many employees reporting to that manager and their average age, which is what is expected. So this looks right and simple. So I can just have a small format and this looks better, right? But is there a better way to do it? So I have a CTE table and I connect that CTE table with the main table again, right? And then I'm getting the output. So is there a better way to connect the same table again? So that's what we're doing. First, you take the employee table to get the manager information. The same employee table, we connect that to get the employee name. So the manager's employee name. It's a self join. You're connecting the same table twice to get the same information. So the report to the employee ID, we connect that to the employee ID and get the name. So how would I do that? So this term is called self join. Self join means you connect with the same table, but the parameter is going to change here. Reports to and employee ID is going to get interchanged. Let's see how to do that. Select from employees. The first one I use that for get the manager information. Inner join. The second one I'm going to do for the employee information. So how will I do that? So for the employee information, the employee ID should be used, and for the manager information, we have to use the reports to. So the reports to connects with the employee tables, employee ID to get the name. So that is what the connection we are doing it here. So that's why I use the reports to column as such. So this is what we are replicating it. But instead of getting the CTE table, I'm directly bringing in the employee table. Now I'm going to get the reports to column. So m dot reports to and the employee name and the average part. So here the reports to and the average is calculated in the CTE table. So I'm getting that calculation and I'm replacing it here. So count of employee ID, and I have to give the alias name because I'm doing a self join. The employee ID is present in both the tables. So I have to make sure which table I have to use. So I have to use the managers table to get the reporting part, and then the average of the age, and even this has to be the employee's average, so it should be from the managers table. So one manager having multiple reportees. So this first table refers to get the manager information, and based on that manager we are going to get the employee information. Now we are using the count and report as aggregation function, so we have to use group by reports to and name. So 1 and 2, order by employee ID or the manager ID. So if I do that, I get the same result. So what is the difference between the first query with using a CTE table or the second query? So the CTE table, as I said, since we used only once, I can replace this with the subquery table, right? Even that is not going to make a big difference because we are executing the subquery only once. So I'm taking this CTE table. I can simply replace this CTE query with the manager info table. And if I run it, I'll get the same result. So what is the importance of CTE table? So if you use this data set more than once in the underlying query, right? The bottom query, if you use this CTE table more than once, then it makes sense to have a CTE table. If not, it's okay to have as a subquery table, right? Both works the same way. This query executes and get the data in the buffer, and then it connects with the main table. But the problem here is if it's a bigger table, right? If you have millions of users or millions of employees, and you create a subquery table and then connect with this table, then the subquery is not going to use the index. So it's getting into the buffer. So the index part is not going to work. So when you connect with the employee table, the employee table will have the index, but this data set is not going to have the index. So the performance point of view, this subquery is going to be a little bit slower when you compare with the self join. So here we are having the employee table and we are connecting directly with the employee ID with the reports ID. So if the table is having some partition or some index done on the employee ID and the reports ID, then the query will be much faster when you directly connect with this. But when you change that to a subquery or a CTE table, then that data set goes into the memory space and the index is not going to work. So if there is a way to do a self join and connect the table, I always prefer to go with the self join rather than going with the subquery or the CTE table. So it's your preference to see how your data set is, how big it is, and how fast the query has to run. Then you can decide whether you want to go with the CTE or subquery or go with the self join. Okay? You can see the difference and you can decide which option you have to choose. Hope you like this video and thanks for watching.